And the third deputation is from Hannah Durden regarding retrofit over new build, supporting communities, reducing carbon emissions and minimising waste. Can the deputation please come to the front of the dais? Hannah, you have 5 minutes to address the council. Once finished, please wait for a response.
Good evening. I'm joining you from the Lambeth Eco-Housing Group, a group of professionals and experts from the built environment and education, including a number of local residents. We formed because of the climate emergency and because of the effects of the climate crisis that are being seen globally. We're a group strongly of the view that retrofit should be prioritised over new build to support communities, reduce carbon emissions and waste. We're opposed to demolition because of the waste of resources that it represents, because embodied carbon has been recognised by the property industry as the biggest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, and because funding for local authority housing has changed and there are more funding structures now available, especially for retrofit. As the national grid decarbonises, embodied carbon will form an increasing proportion of Lambeth's housing stock and therefore carbon footprint. All of us working in the built environment now have to consider retrofit over new build, and there is a groundswell of movement in this direction. We've been told by Lambeth that they have calculated that new build developments would generate less carbon emissions over the total life cycle of the developments, but we would like to know how they have reached this conclusion. Lambeth also claims that they are building homes that deliver more than twice the carbon emission reductions that current policy requires. But just to be clear, current policy, that is building regulation standards in this country, are woefully out of date and are incapable of tackling the climate emergency. Looking to Lambeth's professional consultants, most, if not all, professional bodies have made declarations around whole life carbon. For example, Architects Declare and the RICS Whole Life Carbon Assessment. Professional members of these bodies, no doubt advising Lambeth, are being asked to make commitments to follow the guidance being issued. Collaboration will be key going forwards with the likes of LETI, who have released their Whole Life Carbon and Retrofit Guides, and the UK Green Building Council, who launched the Net Zero Whole Life Carbon Roadmap at COP26 in Glasgow just 2 weeks ago. Lambeth have been trailblazers in the past. Look to the Hollis and Warwick House developments dating back to 2004, when 68 units were retrofitted to reduce energy consumption and halve fuel bills, as well as providing improved thermal comfort and security. Ackerman Road was retrofitted to create a low-carbon refurbishment of 6 units, reducing energy use by up to 80%, as well as including 3 new Passive House certified buildings on the adjacent derelict site. Lambeth has also been part of the Net Zero Retrofit Accelerator programme with the planned refurbishment of 40 units on the Myertsfield estate using the Energy Sprung concept. We want to support Lambeth to identify schemes for retrofit at scale, alongside relevant and much needed skills training as part of delivering a new housing strategy. In this way, we can support Lambeth in tackling both the climate and housing crises side by side. We'd like to see additional units added sympathetically under permitted development rights as part of retrofit schemes, especially on low density and low rise estates. An example of this is a system that ECD architects have developed called Ramp House, standing for Rooftop and Modular Passive House, which is ENEFIT compliant. There are a further 7 councils who've all been delivering housing to Passive House standards in the UK, and we would like to see Lambeth join this group. We welcome Lambeth's ambition in announcing that they will be net zero by 2030, and the recent engagement that we have seen through the Citizens' Assembly. But net zero is not enough. Lambeth say that all sites have been designed to be net zero, yet these sites require offset payments. That's an unregulated market of offset payments, suggesting that Lambeth are not designing homes to be zero carbon. We want Lambeth to be delivering zero carbon homes now through a revised housing strategy. To retrofit these net zero buildings at a later date to achieve true zero carbon will cost significantly more than if Lambeth deliver them now. We would like to see Lambeth's ambition continue by committing to review any planned estate demolition, prioritising retrofit over new builds, and delivering exemplar projects using industry best standards, as they have done in the past. We are confident as a group that this can be achieved
30 seconds.
benefit or passive house approach as set out in the LETI guidance. We are therefore in support of the Green Party motion remaining unamended and have some questions of the Council this evening included. Are Lambeth carrying out a review of their housing stock to inform a retrofit strategy? With reference to new building developments producing less carbon emissions than retrofit, how have Lambeth calculated this? And how is Lambeth's policy so at odds with the thinking of the property and construction industries in terms of whole life carbon assessment? Third question, are Lambeth collaborating with other London boroughs to knowledge on retrofit schemes?
The time is up. Okay.
The last point was, how can we as Lambeth Eco-Housing Group help support Lambeth to lobby the government and other sources? Right.
Thank you, Hannah. If you could just please remain where you are while Councillor Matthew Bennett responds.
Look, thanks very much, Madam Mayor, and hi Hannah, it's nice to see you again. We're very proud of our track record on climate and retrofit. As you said, we're the first London borough to declare a climate emergency. We've got a reputation that's now being recognised around the world. There's a reason why Council Holland and Lambeth were represented at COP. It's because we are seen as trailblazing and for very good reasons. And one of those is our approach to retrofit. You know that we're retrofitting 23 of our schools with new energy efficient lighting, better insulation with solar panels and heat pumps instead of inefficient old boilers. We're retrofitting 5 of our 10 fantastic libraries. We're retrofitting hostels. We're retrofitting community centres. We're retrofitting the homes this year alone of 100 fuel poor families. We're retrofitting Cubbett Terrace in Clapham with ground source heat pumps. We're retrofitting Brockwell Hall also with ground source heat pumps. We're retrofitting, as you said, homes to Energy Strong standard in a pilot alongside other councils at Mitesfield South, homes that are traditionally difficult to retrofit, and using that to help inform the wider approach to retrofit, not just in Lambeth, but across the country. And it comes after we invested over £500 million in bringing homes up to Lambeth housing standard, making sure that doors were insulated, providing double glazing, bringing them up to a standard that they were felt far, far short of, and have done so in spite of deep cuts from central government. And I have to take issue with you saying that there's a lot of money available. There are small pots of money to bid into for pilot projects, but this government has an appalling track record on dealing with the climate crisis, an appalling track record when it comes to retrofit, an appalling track record of providing funding to local government to do what is necessary. So I urge you to put your campaigning efforts into making sure that government reaches what needs to be done. But we are also a council, and a Labour council, that recognises that climate justice has to go hand in hand with social justice. This has to be a fair and just transition, and there is absolutely no fair and just transition that leaves a Lambeth family homeless. We are in a borough with 30,000 people on the waiting list, and with 3,000 homeless families in temporary accommodation. Retrofit is important, but a retrofitted home doesn't provide any extra homes. It does nothing for those families who are homeless. Well, we're in a borough that there's not enough to even refurbish to LHS standards. The government is going to have to significantly step up. If we think it might just cost 25 grand to refurbish homes, that's £800 million we have to find. If it's energy strong and we look at what's happened at Mitesfield South, it's £2.5 billion in Lambeth alone. That cost can't be put on council tenants through rents, it can't be put on services being cut, and it can't be put on council tax being hiked, as is suggested in the Green Party's motion tonight. And on our own building, we are at twice, as you said, the rates of borrowing Public Work Loan Board. It's in the motion. We're at twice the rate of what's in policy. We're 58% better than what's being built by the private sector. We're building passive homes. We're building using cross-laminated timber to reduce fabric. We're making sure through life cycle assessments that we are delivering homes that are significantly better at the same time as providing more homes for people in need. Climate justice and social justice go together, and I'm very proud of what we're doing.
Thank you, Hannah.